Hi there, it's Wim from Model Maker Systems. Today we look at how to create a user title block in Model Maker Systems that you can print using the title block in Model Maker. Let me explain the procedure and main points. Point 1. Create or import an existing CAD drawing of your title block. Point 2. Edit the user-defined text and load a logo image. Point 3. Save the title block as a user title block pattern. Point 4. Create an inverted title block. And point 5. Load the drawing and print with the new user title blocks. And lastly, point 6. Using the title block manager. If you watch the video on YouTube, at the bottom there is an option Show More. The table of contents allows you to go to a specific timestamp and show download links for files. The mouse movements in this video shows red circles, which represents the left click, and yellow circles, which represent the right click. And you will hear an audible mouse click, so it is easier to follow the mouse functions. I use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. The zoom centers around the cursor position. When I use the mouse wheel as a button, it shifts my screen. Decide on the paper size for the title block. Create a new title block for each paper size you need, like A0 or A3. Set the plot parameters. The scale 1 to 1000. This is a rule for all the patterns you create in Model Maker. Set the text size, paper borders all to 0. Make sure the title is not selected. Draw a CAD layout or load import an existing CAD drawing of a title block. First I draw an A1 title block to illustrate the process if you do not have an existing CAD drawing of a title block. Confirm that the size is correct. Draw the frame inside the paper edge. In this case I make it 15. I need to explode the polylines first before I can meet the two lines. So this is typically how you would start any paper size title block. We will start adding the text of the title block in the next part. Clear this and continue with an existing pattern or CAD drawing. I will include the pattern A3 YouTube.pat that I use at the bottom of YouTube. Select the link that you can download the pattern to use that as a start. Save the pattern in your PatData folder. With this file path, your computer username will be different. This is an A3 pattern with the title block on the side. Load and explode the pattern. Confirm the frame will fit the paper size you choose, in this case A3. Create a base point to snap to the paper edge at the bottom left corner. You might need to do some calculations based on the title block margin size you want. I calculated the 10 mm margin for the A3. I trim the lines to make them neat. Next I add the company logo as an image here. If you select the layer name here, this allows you to turn images on and off based on the CAD layer display. I open the image. Try to save the image you use with your patterns in your PathData folder. Allocating an image layer does not apply to the title blocks, but rather when you work with a lot of images in CAD. Note, image 1 is on the image layer and can be toggled on and off with the CAD layer display. Scale the image with a factor until it fits. I need to move this WGS84 pattern. I use ID on the fly on to ID and move the CAD. Now I can place my logo image in the open space. The CAD text from the pattern will help you to know how to define the special title block layers. Use the CAD text as an example. Copy and paste, edit or move them into the title block area as you need them. Edit the text to be the color and size you need. And when you finish, delete the ones you do not use or need. The yellow text already contains all the standard user-defined layer names that automatically use the program and computer information. Let us look at how to use the automatic text. These are all the yellow text with layer names starting with a question mark, like question mark scale, etc. Note the text will be capital text. On the bottom, the text that I typed in the text line shows which text it represents on the CAD. If you want to use it, delete this text and replace it with the appropriate prefix. The prefix for the scale would be something like scale: 1 hyphen. The software will then automatically add the scale of Model Maker's current settings behind the hyphen, like 1000. The prefix for the date would be date: and Model Maker will add your current computer date. So each one of the yellow text is uniquely linked to specific computer information. Note, these yellow text, like the company name, address, etc., will be completed out of the list when we print and get the print pop-up. The project will take the active project description. You would type project: the software will add the rest. The layer names that starts with a question mark followed by a number, question mark 1, question mark 2, etc., are custom layers according to your needs. The number indicates the sequence in the print pop-up list that you need to complete when you print. Use these as examples or change them to your preferences. As long as the layer name have a question mark in front of it, it will be a changeable text when you print. Add the user-defined and fixed text to your title block. For some of the text I added, you will need to turn on your endpoint display to see where the text origin is to select the text. There is also the text that stays fixed in a title block, normally the headings and the prefix to a description. These can have any CAD layer name without a question mark in front of the layer name. I use fixed. You could have typed in there only an X to make it easier to select, but you will then, every time you print, need to delete that X and type in the correct text. I will add the contour and survey system to my already existing text on the right. See how I use the log to move the text in relation to the snap position. Note all the yellow text without a number after the question mark will be replaced by the software with the relevant information. Delete the rest of the text you do not need for this title block. Once we are satisfied, we can save the title block as a user-defined title block. Identify all the CAD elements. I use ID on the fly. With Manipulate ID under the Save options, choose Title Block. Read the instructions on the pop-up. You will by default save all your patterns in the PAData folder in your user profile. I give the pattern a name relevant to the paper size. Indicate the bottom left corner of the paper edge. Snap mode any and turn your show tooltip on if it is off. It's very important to indicate from the bottom left to the top right when you indicate the available plotting area. On the user title block, defaults pop up. Select the paper size in the pop-up drop-down, 3 for A3. Give it a unique name or select one of the existing names to replace it with the new pattern. If the red of the ID CAD disappears, you turn your show always to on under CAD ID. Then to unselect the identification of the CAD, go to CAD ID New. While we have the title block loaded, I will now save and invert the title block. Use the invert option when your printable area is not a rectangle and the title block area falls inside the printable area. To do that, I need to make a few changes to illustrate the concept. To create an example, I delete this top part and clean the CAD a bit. Next important step is to add a white hatch on the title block area. With a pen that plots white, in this case pen 255. All the saving steps of the previous steps are the same. Save the file with the different name A3 side invert. With the AnySnap mode, indicate the bottom left corner of the paper edge. Confirm the total elements is not 0. Select OK, and the pattern is saved. Use the AnySnap mode to indicate the printable area. The printable area includes the whole title block frame, including the title area. The invert tick at the last pop-up must be turned on, close, and the title block is saved. I will now illustrate how to use the title block. I close Model Maker to start fresh to take you through the steps from the beginning. You don't need to close the program, you can clear your screen. Once the program is open, I load the work that I wanted to print. I have a mol file prepared for this. I'm going to print to a PDF printer. I go to Paper, Size, change it to A3. So I first check that my paper size corresponds to the title block size I want to use. Next I go to the plot parameters and choose the title block that we created from the list. It displays the pattern linked, so you can play around using both description and pattern name to guide you. I named mine A3 side. Let me just confirm my title frame settings is 0. If you use a user title block, they should be 0. Let us add the paper window. Make your snap mode free. With string info display, I turn on the section string, no description for the plot. Go to the output, define plotter. The first pop-up shows you the user input fields, and you can now change or accept the info of each of the inputs. You will see the computer autocomplete a lot of the information of the automatic text, and the rest you need to enter. Some of the address data can be changed here. Continue with the print, and the rest of the pop-ups will be the same as a normal print without a user title block. I save the PDF. This is what my print will look like in PDF. All the computer information in the title area are displayed the way you edit it on the previous pop-ups, like the survey system and contour interval that was auto-completed from the settings in Model Maker. Let us print the inverted title block. Change the title to the inverted title block. When you choose the inverted title block, the invert tick will be on. I clear the previous paper window 1 and add a new paper window. I use the viewport for the section. Measure the size for the viewport and type in the values, or if it is the first viewport, use the clear all that will add the measured size as default. Select Shift plus Tab while holding your cursor on the side of the string to rotate the paper window in the same direction as the string. Then place the viewport first on the drawing, then on the paper window. I put the image on purpose below the area where the title text should plot. Continue with the print and the rest of the pop-ups will be the same as before. I can change or delete any of the information to be correct for the new paper window. Because it is a PDF printer, I save the PDF again. This is what it looks like. The title block prints the white hatch on top of the CAD and image and print the title block information on top of that. And that's how you would print your title blocks. What happens if you change computers or want to use someone else's title block files? When you get a new computer, you can copy all your patterns and settings from the old to the new computer. That will then include the title blocks. And all should work like before. When you work in a company and someone is so gracious to give you his user title block files, this file is called ubatch16.dev and saved in your settings folder. Go to the plot parameters title and import the file you got using the import function on the plot parameters title function. This is my extra demo file and not the original one in the settings folder. You can add or replace title blocks. With the Manage tab, you can rename existing title blocks. Just click inside the name field and edit the title name. Note that the program will warn you if the pattern does not exist in the PADATA folder. If you want to remove some of the title blocks that you imported, just delete them. That's it for this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon to get notified as soon as we upload new content.